Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday, October 14th. Welcome, everybody. Jakey Bakey first on the mic. Team David Meltzer, welcome. Let's pin up there. David at dmeltzer.com in case you have not got your exercises, guys, or my signed book, or my book at all for free. Shipping's for free. Don't worry. Just reach out, David at dmeltzer.com. If you haven't joined the text community yet, we're killing it over there at 949-298-2905. Good morning, Nick. He is an all-star. If you haven't met Nick Glazer, please do so. Eric, nice to have you here. Gemma, I see you as well. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Let's get some questions moving and grooving. Jakey, share. I missed your report last night, my friend. What's going on? Are we not in business? What's going on, Jakey Bakeys? All right, Courtney, good morning. Welcome. We got the questions coming in. Here it is. What is your book about? Which one, Samir? That's a good question, but which book are you talking about? I have 4. I have Connected to Goodness, which is about manifesting or getting what you want in life and business. I have Compassionate Capitalism, which is receiving so you can give as a merchant service to be of service and of value to all. I have Creating the Life You Love, the Unstoppable book with Jack Canfield, the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. And then finally, with McGraw-Hill, the big daddy of them all, game time decision making, how to make the right decisions at the right time in order to angle to what you want and have faith that you have something better coming. All of those are available. Go ahead, email me, David at dmeltzer.com, or text me, 949-298-2905. Thank you for the questions. They're heating up. You can get those numbers pinned below if I talk too fast. How do you handle scaling your side hustle when you love your day job and leaving it is not an option? Well, that's what a side hustle to me is about. When you love what you're doing and you're professional of what you're doing. So the key is get better at what you're doing. If you can get better at what you're doing, double the amount of money you make in half the time, you'll have more time for the side hustle, and then you have 2 things that you love doing. The key to productivity and accessibility and gratitude is to be more efficient, effective, and statistically successful. Look, if you just find 4 minutes a day in what you do and what you love to do, your first primary gig, 4 minutes a day, efficiency somewhere, 4 minutes a day, 7 days a week. That's 24 hours of productivity a year. That's 3 full days. You can do something on the side hustle. Or 24 hours, that's 2 hours a month that you can do a side hustle. Every time you find 4 minutes, bam! Come on, everybody. Wake up. It's time. Let's use our common sense and math. All right. What inspired you to first start coaching? People asking me. I had, who's now with the great Keller Williams, one of the top social media guys with Keller Williams, was a pharmaceutical rep. And I didn't know he lived in my neighborhood, but I stepped off stage and he demanded I coached him. And so I did that. Tara Stiles, my dear, let's see here. Where are you? I might as well join early. Let's get this going. She's a co-founder of Strala Yoga. Everybody should have a minimum of an hour a day on their health, and there's no other day. There she
Hey!
is. Oh, in studio. Look at that.
How's it going?
Hi, Tara. How are you?
Good, good. I never know like the lineup for these things, so I'm always like
Yeah,
in and
I'm
out.
with you. And then I got a whole team of people that critique me after like every single thing I do. Like, fix your hair, change your shirt, put more
Oh
light
my
on you,
God.
take
Oh,
light off of you.
you look radiant.
That's the aura. Anyway, I'm a huge yoga fan, and obviously
Cool.
so are you. And it is a growing trend, and especially growing during COVID because it's something that we easily can do in our own homes, and we can get guidance from people like you from our own homes, the same as if we were in a studio. It's kind of, to me, it's the surfing of exercise because all you
Yes,
need is a board, right? All you need is a mat.
that's it. Yeah.
It's so cool. But as I grew up and learned so much more of the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious continuum, you know, my own physical, spiritual, mental continuum that exists within that context, yoga became more and more important to me. My health became a priority to me. What do you see as the number one impact that yoga has on just your everyday weekend warrior, corporate guru? What is the greatest effect that you see yoga having as they institute it and practice it in their lives?
Well, I love that you kind of set up your experience like that because I think so many people are afraid to go there with their yoga practice. They kind of get stuck in this, well, it's good for productivity or it's good for stress or I feel this in my hamstring, and they don't let themselves kind of have that more big, more holistic cosmic experience. And I think just talking about that's normal. It's part of our experience here today can be one of the most beneficial things. I know I always like to share with my friends that are a little bit resistant. I just say, look, you'll feel better, and whatever that means for you, if it is something as, a little bit more entry level, like back pain or, shoulder stress, you kind of get into it for that reason. And then hopefully you feel hooked on it enough to actually go a little bit more into the mental, physical, kind of the whole body experience that you were talking about. So
It's so interesting that you say that and you talk about resistance, and there's so many people that are so resistant to meditation and yoga and other things. And I was sitting on a panel with some of our leading executives in our country, maybe even the world, real key executives, and we were talking to a very large freshman class at a very prestigious university, and the question was, what's the best piece of advice that you could give to these freshmen? And all the corporate leaders, including myself, gave, this great business advice. And I think it was the CEO of HBO or MTV or one of those big networks. And she was fabulous. She said, actually, I appreciate all that advice, but what I would do is find something that you love to do every day for a minimum of an hour that pertains to your health. And what immediately came to my mind was yoga, because it incorporates something that you can do for your entire life. I love tackle football, don't get me wrong, but I had to stop at 21 years old, my senior year in college. That was the last time I could ever really play tackle football. Yoga, on the other hand, incorporates strength, flexibility, balance, mental focus, mental resilience, mental conditioning. There's all these other, variety of things that go in, and you could do it until, literally your heart stops. And that's what's so important for people to understand, is take a step back and just ask yourself, what can I do for me to be happy, to feel good? And I love that was your answer. Hey, whatever you want to do, it just makes you feel good. What are some of the best benefits for someone that really understands yoga beyond feeling good and being happy? What are some of those higher level things that someone that consistently practices yoga experiences in their journey?
Well, I think it's so important with something that can be as visual, especially now with not just the old books of yoga, but the internet, is feeling that experience that you were talking about, that more cosmic connection. We're more same than we're different, feeling in harmony with nature and opening up to that creativity and getting away from the pose being the goal. A lot of people that I knew and learned yoga with, they were so obsessed with being good at yoga or studying yoga, and it became this sort of extra school in a way. And I think it's really interesting if you want to learn yoga as an academic level, but most of us just want to connect and have it be usable and practical for our lives. So, I think it's so easy for a beginner and also an advanced person to say, well, I'm doing this handstand with one arm, now I'm advanced. And, from my perspective, the circus performers are the most advanced yogis in the world, if that's the goal. And there's this much deeper goal of forget about that, take off your pretentiousness about what your body can do and look around and realize that if you do your yoga when you're out, standing in line for your groceries or talking to people, then you're going to be able to have that cosmic connection with other humans. And that's really what we all want at the end of the day anyway, to feel better. But we can really get stuck in that, well, what does it look like, in that comparison, real superficial mindset.
And then one of the things that you and I both are of grave concern about is the generational effect of health. And before COVID, especially with the athletes that I work with, childhood obesity and obesity in general is a huge concern. I was with the Surgeon General himself, met him at the White House, and asked him what his chief concerns were for Americans for their health. And number one was smoking. Number two was the sun. And number three was obesity. And so those were the three chief concerns of the Surgeon General for our health. And yet nobody really focuses in on the childhood generational obesity problem. And now with the past 6 months, I see it, just like anxiety, which is also something that you can handle with yoga. So if you look at the two greatest things that I see of happening to our children is we've raised their anxiety levels, and two, we've increased their obesity because of mainly no exercise and getting, true fitness in. How can we get more children involved with yoga, and what are you doing for that healthy generational effect that you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah, well, it's such a big problem. And I think with so many of our good thoughts, we try to outsource everything and just say, well, there's a class for that and send the kids over there and do that. And all that can be wonderful if you have the resources to do that. But simply, from taking a yoga class, you're going to walk away feeling like that teacher feels. If they're calm and at ease, you're going to feel like that. And if they're a stressed out maniac mode, then you're going to feel some sort of that as well. So, I think really being honest with ourselves and taking care of ourselves first as adults, if we're around kids, whether they're our own or in schools, then that's a huge step forward. And I have the pleasure of working with Alliance for a Healthier Generation, and they put together all these amazing programs in schools. And, yoga's in all these schools already. So I said, well, I feel like maybe I could come and help the teachers a little bit. So I come and do work with the teachers, and we don't do anything to teach them how to teach the kids. Really, the workshop is much about taking care of yourselves, feeling better, how to move better in your space, how to do yoga for yourself, whether you have 5 minutes before your lesson starts or after. And then at the very end of the workshop, I'll share with them some little routines they can do with the kids. And they always say in the beginning, oh, I didn't want this to be about me. This is about how I can serve and how I can help. And of course, we all know intellectually that we have to put on our own oxygen mask first, otherwise it just doesn't work. But it's so easy to just say, you do that, and oh, kids, you go and do yoga, and you eat healthier. And a friend of mine messaged me yesterday, and she saw a picture. We were out on our picnic table eating, fresh vegetables from the farmer's market. And she said, oh, I wish my kids did that. And, I'm thinking, well, we just don't have the junk food around. And fortunately, I was raised by hippie parents who didn't have the junk food around as much until the 90s. And then that all happened with the food, gummy bears coming in and stuff like that. But, I really do think there can be this whole community approach of, well, I want to take better care of myself, not just for my kids, but for me and for everybody around.
That's awesome. Last question real quick. With any good habit or bad habit, I believe there's two components. One is we have to figure out a way to get people started, and that will get them up, get them back up, get them started or restarted. But then we also have to figure out a mechanism to allow them to stick to it. And I believe yoga is something that I'd like to encourage people to get started and to stick to it. What advice would you give to people who want to get started so that it's less pain? Let's just put it that way. My philosophy with anything is just tell yourself the first 10 minutes suck, and it'll get you started once you agree to the fact that this is going to suck for 10 minutes. But I will tell you this about every workout, and then I'll let you answer my question. Every workout I've ever done in my life, no matter how much I didn't want to do it, I've never once, after any workout of my entire life, said, oh, that was stupid. I wish I didn't do that. Not once. For all the years, all the practices, all the workouts, all the routines I've been through, I've never once finished one and said, oh, that was stupid. I wish I didn't do that. I've always felt better. But most of the time I don't want to do it. So I have to tell myself the first 10 minutes suck. So how do we get people to get started? And then how do we get them to stick to it?
Oh, I love that. I think, it's so important to create a little space, and it doesn't mean you have to have a big house or anything. I mean, my first apartment in New York was 100 square foot, but I had the bed and then the yoga mat, and that was it. So,
but it was more expensive than my house.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I think, if you set up a little space, it doesn't need to be like some sort of fancy yoga situation. Just, make a little room, dust the floor a little bit, then you're good to go. And then I think really finding, now we're lucky with technology, but also unlucky because we can get overwhelmed. But I think not to sound crass, but with yoga, it can be like shopping. If you don't like something, one style that doesn't identify with you, ask your friends, somebody you trust, somebody that that has good energy and good well-being, what they do, and try out their class. And, there's so many great communities. We have a great community, but, you know, if somebody wants something that's more chanting focused, we're not going to do that. I say, you know, here's my friends that do that as well, and enjoy that path. And, you know, we're all about feeling better. And I think, you know, for us, it really is the community. Yoga's a together project, and you do it alone, but then you kind of open up your horizon and your peripheral expands, and you want to have other people involved with you. So I think, you know, finding community is a big help to keep with it.
Yeah, I think it's even a step beyond. I love the analogy of shopping because there's so many multiple things that you can do. But I believe it's more than a community. It's actually a consciousness.
Yeah.
And people should be encouraged to join that consciousness and find you at Tara Styles. Is there anywhere else people can reach out to you at?
Sure. Yeah, here's great. StralaYoga.com is our community, but yeah, all the usual places. So it's easy now to find each other, which is so cool. I'm glad I got to hang out with you for a little bit.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you. Please, let's do this again. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tara. Have a great day. Double thumbs up. All right. People making a difference, impacting people. That's what it's all about. Let's answer some questions. Woo! All right, it's Wednesday. That means Friday's training is about how to close a deal. And we're going to teach you how to close a deal. If you missed last week's training on worthiness, the last week's training before that on meditation, or the ultimate ego, or the perfect pitch, or the 5 to Thrive, if you have missed any of it, all you got to do is email me, david@dmeltzer.com, or go to Spotify, and I'm featured on Spotify. Go to Entrepreneur. I'm featured on Entrepreneur. All you got to do is reach out on any platform and find me. Or if you want the exercises, the guides, the books for free, sent to you for free, all you got to do, david@dmeltzer.com. All righty. Also, I am going to be doing a sales private group. We're going to start signing people up mid-November and launch it, mid-October, sorry, launch it November 1st. Okay? Reach out to me if you're interested in a private group for sales. All right, Ja Wright is here. He wants to ask me a question. Johnny, John and Giulo, sorry. John, where are you? Come join me, my friend. Welcome, everybody. Ah, nice.
Oh, David,
you, John?
doing really good, man. Really good.
Oh, I love that hair. I'm jealous. I don't get jealous very often, but that is some nice do.
Not bad flow, right? Yeah, well, it's all trade-off. Everyone's got some things. People have others. I'm sure you have stuff I could use. And, you know, make a trade.
You got it, man. That's exactly my philosophy. Well, you got a question for me?
I'm more so than a question. I kind of want to have a conversation. I had mentioned to you that I published a book, which I wanted to speak to your community about, which I'm glad I'm able to, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
And before that, I want to talk story. So actually, well, real quick. So this is the book. It's called The New Evolution of Self and Society. I wrote, edited, designed, and published it from April to June of this year. Kind of in a fit of inspiration because I have what I consider a magical life where I've been used the tools I have in this book to go from where I was to a place where I'm truly joyous. Like my life is like every day of my life is something I'm really excited for. And I want to be able to share that with people because all this fear and everything that was happening in the world when I saw it, I don't feel that same fear. I look at 2020 so my profession is surfing and teaching people to surf. So the ocean teaches us a lot of stuff. The number one thing is the biggest challenges of my life have given me the greatest experiences. So I wanted to be able to find a way to let people deal with this year in a way that brought them joy and help them, most importantly, to focus and work on themselves and then be able to, through that, start to alter our society.
I love it. Well, I grew up surfing in San Diego, South Mission Beach. I have my dream home still down there, and I get down there. I got to stay down there for the most amount of time during the pandemic when they closed the beach and the boardwalk down there. But one thing that I learned from childhood is that water is such a great conductor, right? We're 80% water. To sit out there in the ocean, sometimes when it was a small day, my mom was like, how do you spend so much time out there? And, half the time was what I didn't know was meditating, right? I got into a trance in the conductive nature of water. And, although I was only 12 or 15 or 17, I was zenning out without knowing it because I was lying there waiting for the waves and there's no good waves, but it felt so good to allow things to come through me. And it was so much easier out there with the sound, the air, and the water to do so. And now I've been able to transfer that into a closet and feel the exact same way as when I'm surfing. What are some of the things that you do teach in your book, The New Evolution of Self and Society, that you've learned from surfing? Because you said surfing has so many things to teach us. I want to know what those things are.
Well, technically, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think everything I've learned has, because my philosophy is like my general personal philosophy is based off of the waves, and that everything is waves in the universe. So everything I learned in surfing is a perfect metaphor. But I'll give you an example. Even the first chapter, of the book is called "The Story We Tell Ourselves," because the most important thing to me is, like, for instance, the difference between the person I was, where I wasn't happy, and I am, is really the thing that I'm telling myself. And I realized that because when I was younger, you know, I could remember like losing contests or not getting a sponsorship or like just having something not go my way, and then remembering what I was thinking, and it's what happened. You know what I mean? It was literally what happened. I was like, I'm not going to win. Didn't win. Then as I started changing that story in my head, and like there's a powerful word called metacognition. I learned it in psychology, but it's the ability to I'm sorry, what?
No, I didn't, bro.
It's the ability to consciously look at your thoughts in the moment and then choose the ones that are of your benefit. Like you could be like, I suck. But then the second later, you could be like, I'm amazing, and just go run down that thought stream and you'll be good. So I learned that from the ocean and surfing, and how it would actually reflect on me. Like my mood would attract the kind of waves I wanted. If I was in a bad mood, I'd surf words, not get the waves, those things. So that's an example.
That's awesome. One of the things I love about the ocean as well, it's representative of life and the nature that, you know, as you know, on the top, it's like this, right? And the deeper you go, the calmer it is. And that's exactly the lesson that I took with COVID, is that, you know, with great turbulence, it's still peaceful within. And you can only see outside of you, like you just said, by looking within. And when you mind map or utilize some of those tools of metacognition that you're discussing, it's easy to change the illusions. The great Dr. Wayne Dyer always taught, right? Change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that's what you're doing while you're surfing. What's your biggest takeaway? You know, you wrote that book during COVID, The New Evolution of Self and Society. What's your biggest takeaway that you want people to have from reading the book?
So the chapters there's 9 chapters. And the biggest thing is once you get these mental frameworks, which is what I call them, are key like tools for you to be able to consciously evolve. The whole book is really about focus on your ability to consciously evolve yourself until the point where you get to what I call magic, where you find your sacred powers. That is when there's jobs, which are me like kind of slavery with invisible chains, and then there's work, like my purpose on earth, the reason I was born. And like that is when magic starts happening. I call it your sacred powers. But you find something that you are both specifically good at that brings you joy, and it allows you to serve other people at the same exact time with there's no compromise in that. So that's magic. And once you discover your magic, the final 2 chapters are about that's why self and society. Once you get to your truest, highest self, or like, there's always ways to go up, but that best person that you want to be, then you can really inform altering and evolving our society from that place. So this whole book is for any person. And I mean, literally, I think it's for every person. But the whole idea is, if you want to be able to consciously evolve and improve who you are and get to a place where your existence is a joy, that's what this is for. And through that, then you really can change the world naturally, organically, and almost effortlessly, because of the way you're altering yourself and changing that. So this book is about conscious evolution, your personal magic, and how through pursuing that, you change the world.
That's awesome. It's a pursuit of your potential through the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious continuum, and finding that quantum nature, that superpower that's within, and also pursuing things that you, according to your values, think are the what in your life. And when you chase enough of the what and improve towards the what's, you find those quantum whys that really resonate with you and our society and the universe as a whole. You and I are so aligned. Where'd you grow up surfing?
So I grew up in Montauk, New York.
Oh, Phil O'Connell's boy. You got to know Phil O'Connell.
Oh, I don't know if I know Phil O'Connell.
Oh, Phil O'Connell's, he's been a lifeguard in East Hampton forever. He's about 52, 53 years old. He grew up in East Hampton, but has surfed. He went to law school with me at Tulane only because his grandpa left him money only if he went to graduate school. But before he went to graduate school, he lived in Hawaii, surfed. And so he came to New Orleans. You'll love this story because you're a surfer. He comes to New Orleans. His whole apartment is all Surfer magazine. He has a board and I'm in Louisiana. And I was like, dude, and I'm from San Diego. So I'm like, dude, where are you from? He's like, oh, I'm from East Hampton. And I have no idea that they're surfing in New York, right? Because I'm from California and I've only been in Manhattan. I really hadn't been in the Hamptons, so I didn't understand Montauk or East or Southampton, etc. And so he's like, yeah, I love to surf. And I was like, oh, dude, you're a hodad. You can't surf. So I invite him out to California for spring break and he shreds. And then he's like, well, I was a chef for 3 years in Hawaii. I've been a lifeguard in the Hamptons every summer since I've been, 15. And he's an awesome surfer and he killed it.
Well, the being out here makes you hungry, so you travel more. But before on the surfing note, but before we go, I just want to talk. I want to say one thing about the magic and everything.
Yeah.
But so I had spoken with your assistant, and he originally said maybe on Monday, which is the 12th. Didn't work out, and then it was the 14th. What overjoyed me about finding that out was, like things happen, I'm sure you've done this too, but last year I had set myself a date on that date to get to a new phase of my life, and that date was October 14th. And so it came to be that I did this book. I just begun promoting it 2 weeks ago, and then I reached out to you. We had our whole, that thing, and then it ended up being, now it's 11/15 on October 14th, a year later from when I set myself to be into a new phase of my life. And I think speaking to you is a great sign for that. And that's literally what I'm talking about. Like, I wanted that. I created this book. It's here. I'm speaking to you about it a year to the day right now. So
that's so awesome.
So cool, right?
Well, go get the New Evolution of Self and Society. John is someone who is aligned in the continuous and the consciousness continuum that I believe in. And let's all create that collective consciousness that John and I want, of everyone enjoying every day the consistent, without quit, persistent pursuit of your potential, your truth, your true superpower, that secret of life that John is so well explained in the New Evolution of Self and Society. Where can people find the book today?
Yeah, so the link is in my bio. It's on Amazon, so you can, it's either a physical copy or an ebook. I'm going to do an Audible book soon, but right now, physical or ebook. And please pick it up. Let me know what you think. Repost it. Reach out to me. Speak to me. I'm happy to speak to anyone if you have questions or ideas. And yeah, that's it.
All right, man. Well, go ride a big wave for me. Thank you so much for writing that book and helping so many people, John. I love your philosophy and your outlook. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Bye.
Right on. Peace, my brother. All right. We got a peaceful crew today with Tara and John. What great people. You can get Zen today with David and John and Tara. It's easy to find peace. The greatest gift that we've been giving, the greatest pursuit that we should have is the truth, the peace and joy that we are already. So let's clear the interferences. Let's clear the void, shortages, and obstacles. Let's clear the ego-based consciousness and live within that continuum with the New Evolution of Self and Society. If you got to go catch a wave, go catch a wave. If it's yoga, then do yoga. If it's walking, then walk. Whatever does you right. That's what we want, to pursue your potential, what makes you feel good. And helping others always makes me feel good. So that's why I come here every day. Let's answer a couple more questions. And then remember, Friday's training is on closing deals, creating abundance. That's what I'm going to teach. If you haven't caught all the trainings, they're on a playlist on Spotify, feature there. I am featured on Entrepreneur. I'm on every platform, all for free. You get the exercises, guides, the books, my trainings, free. Just go to david@dmeltzer.com or join my text community, 949-298-2905. What is the best piece of advice you've gotten recently? Oh, the best piece of advice. Oh, I know. It's really more an analogy, but I love the analogy of this time that we're in is like driving in London. And what I mean by that is, I've driven my whole life since I've been 16. I got my license, unlike a lot of the kids today, on the day I turned 16. And I was so excited to get my license when I turned 16. So I've been driving a long time. And the way the world works in these accelerated changes, it's like, okay, you've been driving your whole life in America. Now you got to go drive in London. What does that mean? I know how to drive. I'm an excellent driver. I know how to drive, but I wake up this morning and all of a sudden the steering wheel's on the other side and I'm going around a roundabout the other way, trying to figure out how to exit. That's what we're dealing with right now. And so I think that advice of understanding that within a day's time, your whole, even though you know what you're doing, your roads, rules, and equipment all can change like that. In an instant to a second, between limitlessness and infinity, you can change like that. That's why you have to know what you do have control of, and your mindset, your heart set, and what we think, say, do, and believe. And those unconscious competencies that both Tara and John were talking about, we have control of all of those. So although we may be driving on the wrong side of the road with the wheel on the wrong side of the car and exits on the wrong side, you still know how to drive. So let's remember what makes you a great driver and focus in on those capabilities, your skills as a driver, your knowledge of the what and who as a driver, and your desire to drive. You got that? All right, cool. Let's take on another question. What is your strategy for an entrepreneur to build their personal brand? And strategy is you capture your quantum being, capture your authentic self, capture as much as you can, modify as much as you can for all platforms, amplify it in all platforms through all channels, and perpetuate it and create a strategy to do so. You cannot have enough content, period. If you're not annoying your family and friends, if they haven't told you, hey, dude, stop putting so much content out, you haven't even started even close to doing that. They want me to remind you, Team David Meltzer posted right up there, trainings at 11 a.m. this Friday, every Friday. Over 20 years I've been in trainings about 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Go ahead, email me if you haven't joined, david@dmeltzer.com. 949-298-2905, pin below if you haven't joined. If you've missed any of those trainings for all of this time, it's featured on Spotify. I'm featured on Entrepreneur. I'm on every platform. The Playbook is my most downloaded podcast, beyond the great celebrities and athletes and entertainers that I've had, beyond the great billionaires, millionaires, and entrepreneurs that I've had. It actually gets more downloads than Gary Vee, Ed Milet, and Tom Bilyeu. Come on now, let's make this happen. Anyway, here we go. Do you view peace and happiness as the same thing? No, I don't. That's a good question. How do I explain this? Peace is a place. Happiness is a feeling in that place. Peace is quietness. It's a place. It's center. It's neutral. It's a place. Happiness is how we feel in that place. I hope that means something to you. Thank you for allowing me to figure that out for myself and hopefully explain to others. All right, last question. Here we go. Can you explain the importance of doing things daily? Yes. So the way that, and this applies to Tara and John today, the way that we live and change and grow is to do things daily. It's so important to do things daily. Why? Because our conscious is 10,000 new thoughts or data inputs a day. And the problem with those data inputs of what we think, say, do each day, those 10,000 new thoughts that we have, is that our cellular structure, our cellular memory is extremely stupid. Our senses are stupid. Our memories are stupid. So we can't remember. We only remember the thoughts that we have from the time we're awake until the time we go to bed in that cellular structure. If we do them every day, repetitively, it then communicates after a minimum of 21 days, determinative upon what our genetics are, our environment are, and our quantum nature is, determinative upon that input, a minimum of 21 days will create a subconscious thought. So it'll enter the 40,000 of the same thoughts we have every single day, which generates a neural pathway, which creates efficiency, effectiveness, and statistical success in what we do. It allows us to communicate while we're sleeping to the unbelievable power in source and light and love and lessons that we're always connected to. And so as we get our conscious and ego-based conscious out of the way when we sleep, we now can utilize even more effectively those 40,000 of the same thoughts, and also those 40,000 of the same thoughts are policing and regulating and controlling and manipulating the 10,000 and attracting the 10,000 of the new thoughts. Now, if we continue to focus in on consistently every day that one thought, and it continually is accessed in the subconscious, it then starts to impact our unconscious. The unconscious is our quantum nature. It is displayed by the personality traits, the characteristics, the obsessions and addictions that we have. It is our DNA. It's the epigenetic layer of the DNA that can be activated or deactivated that create these habits, obsessions, addictions, personality traits, and characteristics. And that continuum conscious, subconscious, and unconscious continuum is only affected by consistent behavior. And so 2 minutes a day is worth more than 2 hours on a Saturday. That consistent behavior can change us consciously, subconsciously, and unconsciously. And why do we want to change that quantum being, that superpower that John and Tara talk about? Is because that's what creates our frequency. The law of Goya, getting off your ass, creates that continuum, conscious, subconscious, and unconscious continuum. The law of attraction is effectuated by the frequency that's created by that activity, by the enjoyment of the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of your potential, your quantum nature, your DNA, genetic DNA, activating that DNA that creates a frequency that is like a beacon that attracts what you want. When you pay attention to something every day, you give an intention every day, the coincidences in your life that you want will happen. It's a mathematical equation of luck, attention, what you focus in on, the law of Goya, what you think, say, do, and believe equals the coincidences, and it works within the context of doing stuff every day from the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind. No better place to stop than that. So thank you, everyone. We will be back tomorrow. Hello, Auntie Shelley. You are a dear. I look forward to every morning's text conversations with you. You are expanding and growing and accelerating to help others. If you haven't checked out my Auntie Shelley, she's right there. Auntie Shell 99, unbelievable nutrition for you, a vegan way of living. It's just perpetuating and growing for everyone. Thank you, Auntie Shelley, for joining me. I really appreciate it. And a shout out to you. Everybody, join me Friday for free trainings. And if you miss it, make sure that you, your friends, associate, all come. I'm featured on Spotify, featured at Entrepreneur. You can catch me on any platform if you don't use those. That's cool. But most importantly, join me for free. Get exercises guides free. My training free. Just email me, david@dmeltzer.com, or text me 949-298-2905. Thank you, everybody. Remember, I am starting November 1st, a private group for sales. If you need any help on closing deals, that's what training's about. But we're going to have a private group for sales, networking, and how to sell, answering questions every single week, one-on-one access to me. Come join me on that private group, david@dmeltzer.com. Text me 949-298-2905. All pinned below. Finally, I will see you tomorrow. Most importantly, Gigi, I see you. It's so nice to see you again. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Thank you all. We'll see you tomorrow.